Everyone who sees Big Trouble in Little China now knows that it's great. It is a perfect picture of the 80s, from the music to the acting to the special effects. However, it did freaking awful at the box office, and we're going to try to figure out why on Your Positive Review with Ryan.
And Kamea.
I think I've shown you that Shine On Me song with the ridiculous...
Was it like a glam rock thing?
Yeah.
Or was it like the epic fantasy travel one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that.
Did I show that to you?
You were very, very invested in that for
Yeah. I still am.
On a deeply emotional level.
Oh, wait. I do remember this.
Yeah, with the ridiculous... It's just so edited ridiculously, and it's over-the-top fantasy.
Yes.
I do recall.
Big milestone, guys. Their music video on YouTube hit 1 million views.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's nice.
4,000
Good for
views
them.
ago, but I like to think that I contributed to that in some small portion.
Probably.
At least 10% of those views. were yours.
Probably.
So.
That music video... It started out ironically liking it.
Right.
But the more I listened to it and watched it, I actually think that's my favorite music video of all time. So anybody listening, pause this, put in YouTube Shine On Me by Chris Dane Owens, and have a good time. And contribute.
Be uplifted.
Yeah. It's the only video on his account that has 1 million views. He's got like a bunch of other sequels and other stuff, and they're all, I think, maybe like 20,000 views. So
Sequels never do as well as the original. That's just a rule.
very true. Who are you?
Oh, I'm Aaron.
Yeah.
I'm waving for the viewers at home. Good physical comedy. That's what I like to go for my podcasts.
Yeah, which will be super helpful
Yeah.
in an audio format.
They appreciate it. They may not be able to see it, but I like to think they can feel it.
Yes, inside.
Their hearts. The cockles of their hearts.
So, Aaron is our brother-in-law. He's married
That's true.
to the infamous Miranda.
Much acclaimed.
Yes. So, this week, me and Kamea went and saw The Predator in theaters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the theater in Prescott's actually really nice.
It is.
It has reclining seats, and we got 2 tickets for $14 for both of us.
They had
That's
a
a really
bar,
good price.
too.
Yeah. Yeah, they had like a bar and like real food you can buy. Obviously, I mean, it probably isn't the best food, but...
Yeah.
They redid the one here in Murrieta to be like that.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
This one isn't like that nice. I've seen that one before, but...
Yeah, well, I mean, the chairs were kind of falling apart. Like, it had been a little
They were still super
old,
comfy.
but they were super comfy, and they recline.
Well, it's
Yeah.
broken in, so
Yeah, exactly.
none of that resistance you get from those new chairs.
Yeah, that new leather.
They're trying to fight back. This chair knows better. It knows its place.
It knows its lot in life.
You take the butt chair. You take the butt.
But The Predator was entertaining. Maya, you haven't seen any Predator
I
movies,
don't
correct?
think so.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I've seen all of them. So this one, it had a really interesting premise. I'm going to try to be spoiler free. It had a really interesting premise that they've never done in a Predator movie before. Because they did hunting in the jungle, hunting in the city, and they did
A
Alien versus
neighborhood.
Predator.
Which one did they do the Goodwill hunting on?
That's
What?
a different thing.
Oh, okay.
Robin
Okay.
Williams running away from a predator.
No, other way around.
No.
But it was entertaining. I don't think it was the best Predator movie, but it was directed by one of the dudes from the original, and so a lot of the humor from the original is in it, but like blown up, and there's like way more humor because it's also got Keegan Michael Key from Key and Peele.
The thin one.
Yeah, the taller one.
He's in a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
He's a
good.
good actor.
Yeah, he's really funny in this.
Yeah.
God.
You said to put it on vibrate,
Rookie.
and I did. Okay.
Amateur hour.
It did have a really weird ending. I feel like they put the post-credit scene as the ending, and it would have been better as a post-credit scene.
Gotcha.
I feel like they should have ended it like maybe a few minutes before, and it would have been similar to the original ending of the first Predator. And I think it's not doing very well in theaters because it's also, I think, anti-sensitivity.
What does that mean?
At one point, because the movie, one of the stars of the movie is a kid who has like some sort of autism, and at one point somebody calls something retarded, and the kid's father is like, use another word, and then one of the other dudes is like, yeah, his kid's retarded, and it's like,
oh yeah.
so it's this weird kind of pointing at the sensitivity and then like slapping the sensitivity away. I don't know. It was weird, which I think is not helping it do very well. But it was entertaining. I'll probably buy it at some point just to add it to my collection.
I mean, it was good. I'm not a really huge Alien fan, as you know.
That's right.
But it wasn't like a scary Alien, I feel like.
Yeah.
In the sense of like a horror Alien movie.
Yeah, they weren't really...
So it wasn't like...
They weren't super invested in the humans this time. They were kind of fighting each other.
Yeah. So maybe that's why.
Yeah. They did some cool stuff with the Predators, though, that hadn't been done before. Like, they actually... One Predator uses his little mouth...
Mandible?
Yeah, those things.
To bite some stuff.
Yeah, which hadn't...
Those things
I've
look
never
like
seen
they
it.
could do some damage.
Yeah, and they do.
They did.
So, it was kind of cool to finally see that.
I didn't really like their eyeballs.
Yeah.
That really freaked me
I
out.
remember you freaking out the first time they really showed that.
Well, because he's like lying there, he's sleeping, and then he opens his eyes suddenly.
Yeah.
And they're like,
and you,
what
like
color?
flinched.
They're like so like
Yellow.
bright and like compared to the rest of his face.
Yeah.
Did Ryan like the eye effect?
Oh, yeah.
Did you squee?
A little bit. I try not to do it too much in the theater. I don't want to be annoying. I'm already super annoying in the theater anyway. I laugh
kept
really
talking.
loud. And, yeah, I talk.
I was
so.
like, dude.
Miranda's constantly embarrassed by my laughing. Because I also tend to laugh at things that, like, I'm fairly certain the people who wrote the script want me to laugh at, but no one else is laughing.
Because people are dumb and they don't get it. Yeah.
And so I'll have sometimes a very annoying, blasty kind of laugh. And Miranda will just be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't handle this.
I love when you're in a movie theater and everybody's like laughing and you feel like you're a part of something bigger than yourself. And like you're just all on the same page. Those are like the best kind of movie theater experiences.
Yes, it is nice. That's what's nice about Marvel movies, I feel.
Oh, yeah.
Like, everybody's there for the same... and midnight premieres for anything. Because a midnight premiere is usually for fans who have been waiting for the movie. So, this week, I also started watching This Is Us. Maya has already watched This Is Us. Have you heard of This Is Us?
I'm pretty sure I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Feel like I wouldn't like it.
Probably not.
Just the title is off-putting.
Yeah. It's actually got... The first episode has a really interesting twist.
Yeah.
That I didn't really see coming, even though Maya told me. Like, when it happened, I was like, whoa!
Oh, no. Well, yeah, I was wondering if you were going to get it, because I didn't exactly tell him. It's a show where, like, they go out of real time and, like,
Into the
back in the
past.
day.
Time? Oh.
What?
Not the Matrix.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, like I told him that. I was like, because a lot of people when I first started watching it, they were like, oh, I can't watch that because it's too confusing for me. And just because of that, and it's not confusing at all.
Not even a little
But, because like once you watch the first episode, it is confusing, but then it gets explained. So I was wondering if he was going to get it, and I was like, oh no, I feel like I kind of ruined it. And then he didn't get it until it happened, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, they do a good job of hiding it. Because I think the premise is like, because it starts out with this intro, like telling you how many people, estimated, I guess, share birthdays. Like you share your exact birthday with like 18 million other people.
Sure.
Which, yeah, I can believe that. And then it says, and there is no connection personality-wise to those people. Or is there? And so the whole premise is like this family who all share like the same birthday. And it's pretty freaking emotional. I'm an emotional person. Like, I get really invested in things, which is why I started this freaking podcast in the first place.
That's true.
Because I got emotionally involved in movies and hate when people hate them.
Right.
So watching this, that is, I guess, become a show that is notorious for making people cry, I don't know if was the best idea. And Maya warned me.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny. She's like, yeah, this show's rough.
Well, I told him, I was like, because they've already had 2 seasons, and there's about to be a 3rd season, so I was like, just so you know, I'm going to be watching this. And if you want to know what's going on, you might want to watch it. But I told him, like, you don't have to.
I had heard of it, but I had never really been in a... Like, I didn't really see it. It was on Hulu, and I just wasn't paying attention.
Right.
But now that the 3rd season's coming out, I can't not know. So, but yeah, like the first episode, there's a speech in it, or this doctor is talking to a father, or
Jack.
a new father, and it gets super emotional, and I started tearing up. It was...
Did you make the sound?
I don't think so. The acting is really good. It wouldn't be as effective if the acting wasn't good. And so I don't know if the problem I foresee in my head happening is like they do this every episode.
Oh, they don't.
Okay.
Not every episode is emotional.
The first episode I get, it's like it's trying to get you involved and interested. But if they do it like every episode where they have this major life-changing speech, it's like, okay, calm down. But if they don't, that's cool.
Well, I feel like a lot of it like builds up to another emotional episode, that kind of thing.
That makes sense. And then we are out in California, so I finally pressured Aaron into playing God of War.
Oh, okay. I was going to say. That's true.
I could go on all day about God of War.
Right.
And might actually do at some point.
Oh my gosh.
On an episode.
24-hour podcast.
No.
God of War, Kingdom Heart.
Extravaganza.
Double header.
For those anybody who's played God of War, it's exclusive to PS4. Aaron got up to the fight with the stranger.
Was that his official title?
Well,
later on,
at that point,
about him.
Yeah. You find out who he is in the beginning, where his health bar is.
Yes.
It says above it, the stranger. I don't know if you saw that. The first time I saw that, I was like,
too busy trying not to die.
Yes. Yeah. So, do you have any impressions that you'd like to share with?
It's a good start. I like it. Good little hook to get you on the adventure. You know, because there's always got to be something, right, to get you the hero's call kind of thing. So, definitely unique. I mean, I never played the other one, so I don't know what it is for each individual story, but I'm guessing this one with the kid is pretty unique in the series. So
Yes.
So yeah, no, it's a good game, fun to play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fun to play.
Yeah, this is the only game where you have, or the only God of War game where you have a companion of some kind that Kratos doesn't murder. Kratos has a tendency to kill people, so
I'm glad he can't die. The kid, that makes things so much easier. If you had to worry about the kid dying all the time, that would be super stressful.
Yeah, just a giant freaking escort mission. Yeah. They Cory Barlog, the creative designer, was actively like, we can't let this be a giant escort.
Because escort quests are the worst.
The worst, yeah.
They always walk so slow.
Yeah, they're always so freaking squishy.
We could cut this mission down by 60% if you just pick up the pace a little bit.
Just go a little quicker. And then you also said you played Divinity 2?
Yeah, just briefly.
I know very little about this game.
Divinity 2 is basically a game version, I keep saying computer game, but a console game version of D&D. Like if you took Dungeons and Dragons, put all the rules into there, and made it turn by turn. So Miranda and I are playing, and in combat, I'll have a turn, and then the monster or monsters will have a turn, and Miranda will be somewhere in there, or maybe I'll be at the end. It all depends on the stats that you design when you make your character.
That's interesting.
Is it multiplayer?
I know it's at least 2-player. I think you
wow.
can sign up. Pretty sure you can sign up for online playing and play with more than one.
Yeah.
More than 2 people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. It's fun. There's a lot to learn to start, just to navigate. Your items, your spells. I mean, they went crazy with the number of skills that you can go into. So it can be a little overwhelming, probably for someone who hasn't done anything like that before.
Yeah, any D&D stuff.
Yeah, and even for us, we spent the first night just building the characters and finding out how to play, how to get into the game.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like 2 hours later, we're like, okay, well, we
guess
have
that's
characters now.
We've made progress.
But it's fun. Combat's interesting. I have, what do they call him, a metamorph. So he grows horns and charges like a bull, or does a tentacle whip thing.
Oh, snap.
So he's got fun little stats.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, the only thing I really heard about it was, and because I think it came out on PC first.
Okay.
And then it got, which I wasn't expecting. I didn't think it was going to come to consoles. But I heard that it has a staggering amount of freedom. That you can, not just with character, but in the world.
They let you interact with a lot of objects. There's shells on the beach that you can pick up, all the shells if you want to.
Jeez.
The first thing, you start off on a ship, and I found a bucket, and I said equip the bucket, and it let me put the bucket on my head, and it gave me increased armor. So I run around with the bucket on my head now. And
just find armor.
Yeah, and then there's a big range. So there's characters that they've created. I guess the headliners, the named characters that they've created that you can play as.
Oh, okay.
Or you can make up your own character.
Yeah.
And you choose a couple backgrounds, and depending on your background, it affects your options in dialogue when speaking with NPCs. So if I only have a soldier and an urchin background, it'll totally change the things I have options to say to NPCs as opposed to someone who's like a cleric and a noble background.
Wow.
And then they've got all these stories for each of these other headliner NPCs that you can go through. So I have this feeling it's the kind of game that you could play through, a couple different times. I mean, you can play through as many times as you wanted and have a different character each time.
Jeez.
And have a lot of different interactions. So.
Yeah, that's...
So yeah, they put a lot of work into it. You can tell with the script and the dialogue. So.
Yeah, I don't know if that would be necessarily for me, because whenever I have a game that has a staggering amount of freedom, I get just overwhelmed by choice. Right. And it's so that's why I've never finished Skyrim. I never finished the newest Legend of Zelda, which I was thinking about restarting this week, because it's there's just
too many choices.
It's open-ended. You can just do whatever, and it's I don't I don't know what to do. Sounds good though. I think I heard from Corey that the cast of Critical Role is in the game, playing their characters from Critical Role.
I think so. Yeah. I remember hearing about that. I forgot that it was Divinity 2 that it was, but I remember them talking about it.
It might not be Divinity 2 now that you mention it, but I think I remember Corey freaking out about this game.
Yeah, he likes it. He's the one who told us about it.
And then you also said you started watching Avatar, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, rewatching. So
okay, yeah.
It's been years since I
first
watched that thing through. Yeah, so it's fun little start. Good show.
How far are you guys?
What's the last thing they did? They got the water bending scroll from the pirates. Yeah, that one. Yep.
Yes.
2 copper pieces.
Yeah. So
did you hear that they're making a live action?
Potentially.
Like a show?
Netflix is partnering with Nickelodeon and the original creators. They're going to make a live action. Avatar.
More like a Stranger Things kind of miniseries show or a movie?
Yeah, no, a show.
No, a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Potentially cool.
Yeah, potentially.
Hopefully. I'm hoping that with having the original creator,
yeah.
whatever they were, like, it should help it.
Yeah.
Did they not have that for the
No.
movie?
I don't know.
think so. I never
Yeah.
saw the movie.
Yeah.
It
It's-
wasn't terrible. I know it gets a
Yeah.
lot of flack for being terrible. Maybe you can do that one next.
Oh yeah,
on the show.
I'd like to do it at some point, but I can't find it anywhere.
Oh really? That's weird.
Like it's not at Target.
Oh, yeah.
Granted, that's the only place I've looked.
Yeah. I'm sure Amazon has
Amazon,
them
yeah.
for $1,000.
Oh,
copy,
okay.
$1.
Yeah.
Take them all.
We need these out of our
So they've got
warehouse.
it back in.
Yeah, at some point I would like to cut because I think it got a lot of flack,
Yeah.
but I thought the special effects were really cool.
Yeah.
And I don't
I only
remember
saw it the
hating
one
the
time.
story.
Yeah, I only saw it the one time. So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I feel like with Netflix, like, it's got to be somewhat, like, the live action. It's
Mhm.
going to be somewhat good.
My only issue, I guess, is it really better just be a shot-for-shot remake because like there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with the cartoon.
Yeah.
And that was, I guess, kind of the issue of the movie was that it condensed the entire first season
Into
into
one,
like an
yeah.
hour and a half,
Yeah,
and it's
that's-
like okay,
Oh, were they planning on making several movies?
yeah, and
Oh,
that didn't
bummer.
happen at all.
Pillars of Eternity
Oh,
is
that's
what they're voicing.
okay.
Yeah.
Awkward.
Uh,
Redcon, ignore that. There's Pillars of Eternity that apparently Critical Role's in.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we need a live action. That's
Yeah.
the thing. You got the cartoon.
Yeah, but it would be nice to see it in live action. But with Netflix doing it, it's a special effects heavy show, and Netflix isn't super great with
Right.
special
Oh, no.
effects.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure it'll still look good, but I mean, Stranger Things was good because there wasn't a whole lot of
Well,
CGI.
they did the right types of CGI for lower budget CGI
Yeah.
production. Dark.
Yeah.
And
You know, the dark,
you know, that's
hard to see.
one of the great things about the show Avatar is it's so bright and expansive.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
panoramas and you know just everything's so vivid and
Yeah,
you know that's harder to make look good.
yeah, exactly. And as,
Star Wars
they should just frickin' give Zuko a whole scar, because in the movie it was just like a little. It's like no, the whole like side of his face is frickin' burned.
Those are the kind of things where you just it's so puzzling. Like, why do you think that would be an improvement on
Well, I think
something obviously super successful?
because they do that a lot in movies where they will cover or uncover the actor's face.
Yeah.
And it's like I think the actor just wants their face to be seen because they're pompous.
Sure.
Because like in
But that kid was nobody.
Yeah. Well, he became somebody. He's
Yeah.
the dude who was in, I think, Slumdog Millionaire, and then he's in all these like super artsy films now. But
Well, anyway, at the time, like
Yeah.
I doubt he was.
yeah,
had
but like
much pull on.
Chris Hemsworth in Infinity War, he loses the eye patch,
Oh.
and it's like, why you looked better and cooler with the eye patch. But it's like he didn't want to work with the eye patch, so they wrote in a way to get rid of it.
Well, I mean, you are also in this super technological world, so to walk around
Yeah.
without an eye. I mean, even the God of Thunder likes depth perception, I imagine.
And then in I think it's X-Men Apocalypse when they run into spoilers for that when they run into Wolverine in the facility.
Mhm.
In the comics, he's always got like this helmet that covers his face, but
Right.
because it's Hugh Jackman, they have like this little headband.
Right.
It's like, well, couldn't you put the freaking cool looking helmet thing on him? Anyway, it bothers me. But anyway, we're way off track. Now I think it's main event time.
Main event time.
Obviously, you know this from the title. Big Trouble in Little China. This movie is rated PG-13 for unspecified reasons. Just
They shoot a
when...
bunch of people.
They
Yeah,
also
yeah.
say
There's
cuss
a couple.
words, don't
There's
they?
there's a couple cusses.
Yeah, there's one F-bomb. But yeah, so I guess that's why it's rated PG-13. But when it pops up in the movie, it's just like PG-13. Doesn't...
Oh, there's not the long list of reasons why
Yeah.
in the bar.
Yeah.
Just
And then online, too. I couldn't find
I guess back in
a reason.
the 80s, they didn't have to list every reason why.
Yeah. Some smoking. Came out July 2nd, 1986. The budget was $25 million,
Wow.
which in today's money is $56 million.
Oh. Still pretty low.
Yeah, it's not... I mean, it's, I guess, pretty big budget at the time.
Oh.
Because, what was the other... We talked about Tron's budget.
17 million, I think you said, or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
think.
low.
Yeah, it was pretty low. And that movie was like all special effects.
Yeah.
And I think it only came out a few years earlier. At the box office, Big Trouble in Little China only made $11 million.
Ouch.
Yeah, not even half of the budget. It's very,
Yeah.
very sad. So the summary, really quick. When trucker Jack Burton agreed to take his friend Wang Chi to pick up his fiancée at the airport, he never expected to get involved in a supernatural battle between good and evil. Wang's fiancée has emerald green eyes, which make her a perfect target for an immortal sorcerer named Lo Pan and his 3 invincible cronies. Lo Pan must marry a girl with green eyes so that he can regain his physical form. Now Jack must save Wang's fiancée from Lo Pan and his henchmen and win back his stolen truck. And that was written by Mr. X on IMDb. I couldn't find an official
Good job, Mr. X.
synopsis. But yeah, no, I thought that was the best summary on IMDb. So, real quick, did you like the movie? Kamea.
It's alright.
Aaron, did you like the
Yes,
movie?
Ryan. How can I help you?
Did you
I'm going to
like...
address my comments to you because there's only 2 people on this call.
Hey, dude, it's getting hostile. What did you think of the movie, Aaron?
It is one of my all-time favorite movies.
And I liked this movie when my mom showed it to me, because my mom was a huge fan of this movie. I don't know where she bought it, but
Probably the library.
I think she bought it,
Oh.
because I know she has it.
Blockbuster? Oh wait, could you buy movies at Blockbuster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, one day she had it, and she's like, "This movie's super good," and we watched it, and I was like, "Oh my god, this movie's great."
It's pretty great.
Yeah, I don't remember how old I was when I watched it. I think I was at least a teenager. But
Yeah.
I don't
I
early
don't
teens.
remember how old I was when I first watched it, but we watched it regularly growing up my entire life. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a big part of not only Aaron Wood, but the entire Wood family. Like,
Wow.
there are many of those jokes that we say on a regular basis. The one-liners are off the hook.
Yeah, it's really good. I honestly don't like. I can see why people wouldn't necessarily like it.
Mhm.
Like if the humor's not your cup of tea,
Yeah.
whatever. But I mean, complaining about the quality, the acting, any of that doesn't really make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Because it's all well made.
I enjoyed watching it, and I can get on board with the humor. The part where he opens when they're trying to get out, and he opens that green door. There's all those people behind it, and then he just closes it. That was
We might be
so
trapped.
funny. Yes, that was hilarious.
After the 5-minute speech prep about exactly what they're going to do when they open the door.
it was so funny. But
The timing in this movie is pretty
yeah,
perfect
Pretty
throughout. I know.
and I
All
like
the comedic timing is
mean,
spot on.
like the special effects. I guess I wasn't bothered by them.
Mhm.
I like how they use
Right,
like real costumes for those creepy things.
Mhm.
They obviously didn't try to use special effects because then it would have looked really bad.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't like a movie I'd like go out of my way to watch again. I would watch it again, but I wouldn't be like, oh god, I need to watch this movie.
Now, with our quick impressions out of the way, we're going to get into spoilers. So, pause this video, go buy the movie,
Yes.
because it should be, if nothing else, this movie is like an underrated, well, not anymore. Now it's like, everybody likes the movie, but it's still pretty underrated. Like, if you mention Big Trouble in Little China to a group of people, not
Very few
a
people
few,
I know have seen it.
yeah, not a large percentage of that group would know
I'm
what
always
you're talking
it
about.
up to whenever it possibly comes up.
Yeah.
I know very few people have actually seen it.
Yeah, I was surprised when I think you mentioned it for the first time because it's like I had never heard anybody else talk about that movie other than my mom. But yeah, so find the movie, watch it. It's probably a Target because now we're getting into spoilers. So, now that you're back, Rotten Tomatoes has come around on this movie.
Oh, really?
Yes. The critics have it at 82%. The audience has it at 82%. And IMDb has it at a 7.3, which is high for IMDb.
Not bad.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at the critics having it that high, honestly.
Yeah.
Because it's fun and good.
Freaking sick burn of critics. When the movie came out, I don't think it had good reviews because Roger Ebert hated it. But I think Roger Ebert has an issue with John Carpenter because I don't think he liked Halloween. I don't think he liked The Thing.
What was the one you mentioned on the other podcast where he's talking about the horror of the show and it's like the most benign...
Oh, Jumanji.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, if he's going to say Jumanji is horrible and like scarring, like no,
Oh my gosh,
Big Trouble
what
in
did he
Little China
say
is
about
not going to
it?
be his thing.
I can
He
probably
said
it was
something about being like dramatic or
scarring.
like it was so dramatic.
Like I'm
That was
pretty
so
sure that's just
funny.
an animal, dude.
I
Yes.
think you need to calm down.
I mean, seriously, you can't have a good hero without a good villain, and if a couple animals.
Okay, a gloomy special effects extravaganza filled with grotesque images generating fear and despair.
Yes.
That's the one,
Fear
generating
and
fear and despair.
So funny.
Freaking calm yourself.
That's wild. So no, I'm guessing he was not a fan of Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah. It was a little difficult to find reviews for when the
When it
movie came out.
Sure.
Because I just added this to my list of movies to cover because I assumed that people didn't like it. I knew that it didn't do well in theaters. I didn't know how badly it did.
Yeah, pretty bad.
So I assumed that the reviews were bad. But I couldn't... The only one I could find was Ebert's. And then I did find some other negative reviews that are more recent. I think when it came out on DVD, a lot of people reviewed it again. And I found some more negative
Did you
reviews.
see it in the theaters?
No, I was only 5 when it came out.
okay.
So.
That would have been awkward.
Yeah. A little bit weird.
I think I was 10 to 13 or something in that range when we first watched it. I don't know.
I think
exactly.
that's roughly the age I was.
Pretty sure I know we have it on VHS.
No, nice.
So it's
Oh.
at my parents' house on
Oh,
VHS.
that's awesome.
Yeah. I want that frickin' tank top he wears, dude.
It's so.
It's such... It's a cool design,
Yeah,
too.
it's really
Like, if
cool.
nothing else, it just looks cool. Anyway, so... I don't know if we have a lot of viewers that are, like, sticklers for how we do stuff. So,
I don't
for
think
any
so.
sticklers, this might be cheating. But I think what we want to do today is try to figure out why it didn't do well.
Sure, yeah.
Because the movie's fun, it's entertaining, it's got action, it's got romance. So why did it bomb so incredibly hard?
I'm gonna just assume that it either didn't have the advertising or advertised poorly.
Yeah.
So the best example I ever had for advertising poorly is the advertising that they did for Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I saw trailers for Oh Brother, Where Art Thou. On TV, I think I saw maybe one. In the movie theaters, I think I saw maybe one. And both of them I looked at and I thought, that looks like the stupidest movie I've ever seen advertised. It looked just awful.
Yeah.
The sound bites they took from it and the way they couched the plot just seemed just terrible.
Yeah.
And so I did not watch that movie for a really long time. And then I don't even remember how. At one point, it was available to watch, and I watched it, and it was like one of the best movies I've ever seen. It's amazing.
It's great, yeah.
And, I think, and I've seen that a lot with trailers, that they try and frame the movie in a way they think people will want to see.
Yeah.
But it ends up being
Not.
just terrible. Or misrepresenting it.
Yeah. Well, I think this one, because of the premise, I think might be weird to people. Because the studio, I think, wanted to really push Kurt Russell as the hero.
Right.
And Kurt Russell is not the hero. Kurt Russell is like the bumbling idiot sidekick.
Yeah, he's like the unwitting hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reluctant.
Yeah, I mean, he kills the bad guy in the end.
Yeah, spoilers.
We're in the spoiler section.
I'm joking.
Freaked me out for a minute.
Oh,
God. Yeah, other than that, I mean, he knocks himself out. He loses his knife. Wang Chi is the guy who does everything.
Wang Chi is amazing. And Egg, of course.
Yeah,
and Egg Shen.
Yeah, Egg Shen, yeah.
Egg Shen is the true... He's the
Crazy
Gandalf.
eye.
He's the Gandalf of the
Gandalf.
story. But yeah, Wang and Egg are the standout.
The truest heroes.
Yeah, the action heroes.
The heroes that we needed. Jack Burton was the hero we deserved.
Well, and that's the
I
thing.
don't know
He's
where I was
like,
going.
he is just a truck driver
Yeah.
who gets roped into this thing, and
Yeah.
he's just doing his best.
It's so
He's
funny.
with these like demigods and
Yeah.
super kung fu men, and he's just like,
I don't know
is
what I'm
going
doing.
on?"
Yeah, I like that it really is just a redneck trucker thrown into this mystical Chinese, like, I mean, you could make the movie without Jack Burton, but all the humor would be gone.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be nearly as entertaining. Because, I mean, if he hadn't been there to bet Wang Chi, then
Yeah.
he wouldn't have even been in the movie.
Yep.
So,
Just one night of gambling.
yeah, it all worked out.
But that's the other thing that's good about Jack too. He's the guy who is the clueless guy who gets to ask all the questions that the audience
Yeah.
doesn't know either, because he's the one that the audience is like putting themselves in the place of,
Yeah.
because he's the one who's getting pulled into this whole thing.
Yeah, this
And
thing that he
he
doesn't
gets
want
to
be
ask
part
the
of.
stupid questions that the audience is asking in their head, but all the other guys on set know what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Black blood of the earth. You mean oil?
What?
I mean black blood of the earth.
Yeah, what didn't you hear? Speaking of Jack Burton, played by Kurt Russell, to you kids out there, he plays Ego in Guardians of the Galaxy 2,
He looks like that one guy's brother.
Jeff Bridges.
They look like they could be brothers.
They do look incredibly similar. Like,
it's
even as
weird.
young. Like, we watched Tron, and Jeff Bridges is young in that.
Their face shape is the same.
And
Their
then they,
hair.
yeah, they end up getting old.
So
And
weird.
they look really similar. It's interesting.
I hope they can be in a movie together one day as brothers.
As brothers. One of the funniest compliments in reading the reviews for this movie was that Kurt Russell is an idiot savant.
That's really good.
He's so good
That's really good.
at playing a moron.
Yeah.
And it's funny because he wasn't the first choice for the role.
Right.
Who was?
Well, I think the studio wanted...
Jeff Bridges? I'm just kidding.
That would have been funny. Like Clint Eastwood
Oh.
and some other, like, well-done or
Known.
well-known actor. Because the studio thought that Kurt Russell was like an up-and-coming actor. They didn't really want to hedge all their bets around him. But John Carpenter, the director, wanted Kurt Russell. So he did auditions with all these people because the studio wanted it, and then he just went with the dude he wanted anyway. So, and it worked out. He did a freaking great job.
Yeah.
The music in this movie is also...
It fits.
It makes me think of the 80s.
Yeah.
It's all just synthesizer, and it's really, really well done. A lot of minor tones, so it's all creepy and depressing.
Yeah, it doesn't take over, but it definitely helps set
Yeah. Enhances.
The mood.
Lo Pan is a really good villain. Granted, this is... It's very funny, so a lot of funny stuff doesn't always have a villain. But Lo Pan, he's a good villain because he has clear motives. He is very clearly evil. And he's also, like, unintentionally hilarious.
Yep.
Like, he is not like a Marvel villain where he's cracking jokes, trying to be funny. He is, like, his first interaction when he's old and decrepit and in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And he's, like, making fun of Jack and stuff. And even his laugh. Like, his laugh is so weird and creepy.
This laugh is gross.
It's
You were
hilarious.
not put on this earth to get it, Mr. Burton.
That's a really good impression, too.
Oh, I've been practicing for about 20 years.
movie.
So.
He's played by James Huang, who is been in all kinds of stuff. I think he also played the villain in what I think one of my first memories of him is the cartoon Jackie Chan's Adventures.
Oh, he was the...
I think he was the bad guy. But yeah, he's got a great voice, and it's funny because I mean he's a tiny little Asian man.
Sure.
But he plays like a 7-foot tall guy in this, and so he's actually up on like these ridiculous like platform shoes.
Yeah.
And I guess apparently the scene where he's going down that escalator thing, I guess they were on some sort of timetable.
Okay.
And James Hong wanted them to get the stump double to do it, but John Carpenter was like, just go, just do it. And so he kind of like pushed him on, and he was like super nervous because he's going down this escalator and he's got all these robes and he's afraid of tripping.
Yeah.
And so he said in an interview that he was terrified. That scene where he's supposed to be all regal and intimidating, he's like freaking out on the inside. But yeah, so he does a really good job. And his stupid
Nails. Oh, when they're doing the
spell
the
battle.
spell force
So like
battle.
a video game thing that he was doing?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So
It's like he was holding like
so
a
what he does is
controller.
he throws out double shakas for the listeners at home. Double shakas, but then he crosses the pinkies in front of him, and then a beam of force
Green.
light comes out from his hands and manifests as a ethereal warrior to fight Egg Shen's ethereal warrior. And while he's got his crossed shakas with his pinkies crossed, he's wiggling his thumbs up and down
Back and forth.
to control.
It's so goofy.
And it's
So
goofy
funny.
and dumb, but it's also awesome.
Yeah. Because
As a kid, I wanted that so bad.
yeah. Egg Shen is played by Victor Wong, is also another, like, you recognize his face as playing other Asian characters, because he's got, like, one crazy eye,
Squinty.
and it works for the character, I think, a lot.
Yeah.
Because he's supposed to be, like, a crazy wizard man.
Yeah.
And it's just... Everything about the look of this movie is just really good and well done.
Funny.
Yep.
The special effects still look super good.
Yep.
Like, even on Blu-ray, where, like,
Yeah. It would show.
it would show, because it's, like, super high quality now. But the practical effects are good. The monster troll thing,
Yeah.
he looks super good. The eye thing, it obviously is, like, green screened in.
Yeah.
But it looks freaking creepy and icky.
Yeah, I thought it looked good, especially for being made in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like, I mean, they're not probably as good as they could be today, but I was like, wow.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it's always
Better than
possible to mess
Jumanji's.
up the special effects of something if you don't do it right. Like, they worked within the constraints of the effects they had at the time.
Right,
Yeah.
like
You
they
know.
were really smart about it.
Yeah.
And that comes down to, you almost got to figure it's got to come down to the individual heading the special effects team or the team
Right.
itself, because then you can get something like the prequel Star Wars CG, which is just, so much of it is just terrible.
Yeah. Well, I think they relied way too much
Yeah.
on CGI for that.
But yeah,
But-
like a lot of it, Jumanji had a couple ones where you're like, oh, that's obviously not real, but
Yeah.
it looked fake. I
Yeah.
knew the eyeball monster wasn't real, but
Yeah.
in a lot of situations, because it was a practical
Thing.
thing that they just put in another setting or augmented,
Yeah.
it really helps to make it look
Sell it.
a lot better. So.
Yeah. And the lightning in particular, to me,
Yeah.
looks really cool because it looks animated.
Yeah, the lightning guy.
But, well, not just the lightning guy, but like when Egg Shen does the lightning in the very beginning.
Yeah.
And then like the crazy green orb thing in the sky.
Oh,
That
yeah.
looks cool.
Yeah. But these
Just
are really cool
all the
effects.
special effects look super good when the frickin' dude blows up. It's frickin' icky.
So gross,
and,
yeah.
yeah. But it's interesting. I don't have this in my notes at all. John Carpenter actually complained about the special effects.
Oh,
He
really?
said that they weren't as good as he wanted. But it's like they look freaking good,
Yeah.
But I guess they only had a certain amount of money, and
Right.
there was a timing issue, and so John Carpenter blames the special effects company. Special effects company blames John Carpenter, so it's all.
That's too bad.
But I think they look freaking cool. My favorite part of the movie is when they're going down the black blood of the earth thing.
Yeah.
And that creepy monster, which also looks super good,
that's really good.
comes out and eats that dude.
Yeah.
And just pulls him up.
Into the hole. Yeah.
And then Egg Shen is like, it'll come out no more.
Oh,
Jack.
that.
Jack goes, what? What'll come out no more? I love that part of the movie. And nobody answers him.
Nope.
They're just like,
he just goes,
whatever.
come on. And they start walking off. It's like,
It's so funny.
what, huh? What'll come out no more?
I love that part. I forgot to ask, did you like that part? Was it funny?
The part you're talking about?
Yeah. I meant to
Yes.
ask when I showed up to watch it with you.
But it wasn't my favorite part. My favorite part is still the green door.
Oh, yeah.
I just
Oh,
love
yeah.
that part. It was just so funny.
It is really good. I also like the part when they're in Lopan's office
Mm-hmm.
and Wang Chi's looking at the door and he's like trying to
Yeah.
figure out a way through. And then Jack is like, is it hollow?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. And then he just cuts through it.
F it.
That's what, yeah, he says the F word.
It's funny.
And then the elevator ride down is one of my favorite parts. And they're like, they all drank the magic potion, and they're all like smiling at each other. He's like, I feel really good. Yeah, I don't feel afraid at all. I feel kind of invincible. And they all start doing their little salute thing to each other and like rubbing each other's shoulders. And Jack's like, it's getting hot in here.
What was in that potion? Can you narrow down a favorite part?
I can't, no. Like every other scene is. I mean, one of my favorite parts is the elevator. One of my favorite parts is the it'll come out no more. One of my favorite parts is the 6 demon bag. What more could a man want? He's like, 6 demon bag! Great! What's that?
Yeah.
Like, we're in fire, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I think your assessment as Jack being the audience is
Oh, yeah.
super accurate.
Definitely relate to him.
Yeah.
He's just so deadpan and confused about things. Great, the 6 demon bag. What's that?
And then when they're talking about like the Chinese history, and he's like, "What are we doing standing around talking about Chinese history for? Let's go."
China is here, Mr. Burton. What does that mean? China is here? I don't even know what the hell that means.
Oh my god! And when they walk in, when they're trying to infiltrate the base for the first time, and they're from the phone company.
Oh.
And Jack's
Why
just
is he
carrying
holding
a
a phone?
Because
You know,
he's
that's-
selling it.
Yeah, that's how the phone company operates.
From the phone company. And he like points it. picks
The
it
main
up.
junction box back here. Yeah, it's probably back
That's
here.
what it was last time.
So stupid.
But yeah, all of his monologues when he's driving the Pork Chop Express. You just listen to your old pal Jack on a dark and stormy night.
So funny. Give me your best shot. Do you know who John Wayne is? Like the
Cowboy?
the classic cowboy man?
Yes.
That's what Kurt Russell based his performance on,
Oh.
is John Wayne. So whenever I try to do a Jack Byrne impersonation, I try to do it as John Wayne in my bad John Wayne impersonation. Something that was a little weird to me, and is still a little weird, is the kind of anticlimactic kill of Lo Pan.
Oh.
Right.
It's super cool and
Yeah.
quick,
Yeah.
but to me, it would always, like, as a kid, I was like, oh, is that it?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it's not it, because
Yeah.
he still has to face the storms,
Yeah.
or the 2 remaining storms. But I thought that was a little weird,
Yeah. I
because...
think I'm assuming that the writer, whether that was, I don't know, did John Carpenter write this movie, or is this? I don't even know what this is based on. But anyway, whoever wrote it,
yeah, I don't think he
I
wrote
assume
it.
wanted Jack to be the hero in the end, kind of a thing,
Yeah.
and couldn't really think of a better way. I mean, I liked how it happens because it is so unexpected. You expect the crazy showdown, maybe magical fight, but then Jack couldn't contribute anything to that.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, I feel like it's fitting for the movie.
Yeah, I do agree. Even though I feel weird,
Yeah.
it is very fitting.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean, because it's still funny.
Yeah.
Like,
it's funny, and there's like a big kind of shock value to it.
yeah.
Because
yeah.
it's just over.
yeah.
That was it?
Yeah.
Risks of being mortal, Lopez.
Yeah.
That's what you get.
Knives in the forehead.
Because,
Why did he want to be mortal?
so he could take over the world.
Yeah, his the implication is that when he was cursed to be this dreamlike state with only a shriveled
Old man.
corporeal form, that his power was drastically reduced,
Oh.
and so he still was able to do magical things when he manifested as
Right.
the dream state, but he didn't have anything like his former power.
Power, yeah.
So he was, trying to get back to
For
that old flesh.
2,000 years. And then the ending is also interesting, which also kind of contributes to Jack being like the sidekick, because the hero, quote unquote, gets the girl. Wang Chi gets with Miao Yin,
Right.
whose name is always hilarious to me, and James Hong saying it is always, his accent saying Miao Yin is very funny. I don't know why. But they get together, but then Jack goes away and doesn't really get his girl,
Yep.
which,
Yeah, the ending was weird.
Grace Law.
yeah. But I thought it was similar, oddly enough, to what?
Constantine.
Yeah. I was thinking Mad Max, because all the Mad Max movies, except for the first one, aren't really about Mad Max. They're all about the people that Mad Max helps. And then at the end, Mad Max just drifts on. So
Right.
it would have been interesting to see sequels where Jack Burton just comedically gets
Into other.
into other mystical
Kooky
battles.
I was going to ask, like, did they end that wanting to make a second one?
I don't know,
Yeah, it's hard to
because during the 80s they weren't really as invested as sequels
Oh,
as
okay.
they are nowadays. I think that when in the 80s they just made movies, and if they could do good, well, I guess we'll make another one. Nowadays it's like all about making a movie that feeds into
sequel,
another
yeah.
movie. But it would have been cool to see
Yeah.
more. It's a shame that we didn't, because I feel like this could have been a really
Epic.
big thing.
I
Oh,
just
well.
want to see all the adventures of Egg Shen leading up to this, though. Like,
Prequel?
Like a prequel.
just give me more Egg Shen. No, but like, there's so much backstory there between them that they don't
That's
unveil,
true.
which is
Not at
awesome.
all, yeah.
Because they just drop these little teasers of these, like, this long history between Egg and Lopan. Like, after their light force battle, Lopan says, "You never could beat me, Egg Shen."
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, what?
Yeah,
How many
like,
times
was
have
he
you done
his,
this
like,
before?
master or something? Did he teach him?
Well, yeah, that's
That would've
kind
been
of
interesting.
that's the question.
We'll never know.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't even really look like anybody won that fight, though.
No,
'Cause
they.
he just kinda
Yeah,
It
they
looked like they
stopped.
both
Stopped.
swung their weapons and hit the weapon, and then they.
Yeah.
just-
It was
yeah,
like,
phased
I
out.
don't really think you won, but okay.
Okay, try to take a deep breath, Aaron. I know this is going to be hard for you. This one is actually hard for me also, so first one. Okay.
This movie was made in the mid '80s. Ugh.
All action from the word go, with almost none of it generating any excitement, suspense, or humor. By John J. Puccio from the movie Metropolis, who gave it a 5 out of 10, which, in my opinion, is the worst score you can give anything. Because if you give it a 0, at least it's entertaining for how bad it is. A 5 is like middle of the road. It's just boring and not fun. But that complaint...
Well, he has a weird last name anyway, so what is he now?
Fucking got him, dude.
Let's
It's a good point.
let's unpack that. All action from the word go. I do remember.
Correct.
They started the movie off, and it was just some guy who said "go" really loud. I'm like, that's a weird
Wait,
choice
really?
for the script to do.
I don't remember that.
No, that didn't happen.
Oh.
He's doing a bit.
I was using my sarcasm.
Sorry, I ruined it.
My sarcasm maker. No, I think
Sorry.
I take you
I
too
think you helped,
seriously. It's the issue.
So
So that guy said
action
go.
from the word go, generating no excitement or humor
Or suspense.
or suspense. I mean that just seems like foolish of a thing to say.
I kind of feel
Yes.
sad for this man.
Yeah,
I feel like he leads
none
a
of
sad
that was
life.
excitement.
Yeah.
Him plowing his truck through what we assume to be an old man at the
Yeah.
beginning, and
And
showing
then
up on
running
the
him
other side.
over.
A whole Chinese standoff at a funeral, shooting up a cask with a machine gun, and then fighting in the street. Turtle Man.
Turtle Man.
That's what we always called one of the guys there because he had really round, puffy eyeballs.
Oh, the bald guy?
Yeah, he was bald. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Really round, puffy. So we call him Turtle Man, and he dies, but
Yeah.
Guys.
Later on, though, doesn't he?
no, he dies in that fight.
Oh.
Turtle Man.
And then the storms show up.
And then the storms show up
Yeah.
and match. I mean, none of that was exciting at
Not at
all,
all.
or humorous.
The whole thing is exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really suspenseful.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I feel like I could have guessed that they were going to win. Like, at no point did I feel like they were
Oh,
going
right,
to lose.
yeah.
Right.
But humor. No
Yeah.
humor. No humor in this movie at all. None.
Anyway.
Anyway,
Rude.
let's move
I
on.
think we can dismiss that comment out of hand.
Yeah. That's the one that made me I feel sad for that man.
Yeah,
I feel like he has a
He's got
happy...
He's got no joy in his heart.
Exactly. Roger Ebert.
Oh man.
I like Roger Ebert.
Yeah.
I think reading more of his stuff, I think he's an intelligent person,
Well, sure.
and his tastes seem to be eclectic enough that he doesn't seem to have an agenda, which I appreciate. Because I don't like when critics have some sort of agenda that they're trying to push, like we can't enjoy a movie because it doesn't hit.
All my check boxes.
Yeah. But Roger Ebert seems to have a pretty eclectic taste, and so I can appreciate that, even though I don't appreciate his opinion of this movie. Special effects don't mean much unless we care about the characters who are surrounded by them. And in this movie, the characters often seem to exist only to fill up the foregrounds.
How do you not care about Jack Burton from
I
that
know.
first opening monologue?
Yeah, I don't.
And also, I love the little Huang.
And Wang, yeah.
Wang.
Wang. I
Wang
love
trying
him.
to get his true love back.
Yeah, he was like
You
such a
don't
happy
care about that?
character who had such pure intentions.
Yeah, he's so quirky. And
Yeah.
Egg Shen, arguably one of the greatest wizards of our age,
Oh
or any age. No, seriously, Egg
The
Shen,
20th
Egg Shen,
century.
Gandalf. They're like,
That's pretty close. Yeah, I don't agree with that statement. They don't exist only to fill up the foreground. They
that doesn't
Why
make
is he
any
using
sense at
such
all.
fancy words?
well, basically he's like, this movie is all about special effects. It's like not really.
really.
I mean, the special effects are
He
good,
didn't
but
overuse it.
yeah, exactly. It's not like something like the
Yeah.
prequel Star Wars movies where it's like all it is special
Yeah.
effects.
You go how long in the first part of the movie before there's...
Yeah.
I mean, Egg does his
Yeah,
little
yeah.
lightning thing for 2 seconds at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's... how long? A
Until
half
the,
hour at the
until the
least?
storms show up.
At least
I
a
think.
half hour,
Yeah, that's I think the first.
And
use
then
of
there's
special
another
effects.
huge gap while they're doing their dungeon crawl, and there's I don't know, there's
Yeah, I
weird.
don't know. It's very.
strange.
It's a very odd complaint.
Anyway, he goes on, I assume.
Yes, but I didn't add any of that.
Oh.
So I just try to do like whatever clips they have on
Snippets.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Gotcha.
I don't want to read the whole review because it'll make me mad. And then sometimes I'll also end up agreeing with the bad review. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that is a problem. And I don't want to do that. I want to like something. So
Yes.
friggin' last one. Oh, he also gave it a 2 out of 4, which is another
50.
bad score. I don't like. It's such a shame that this movie gets such like middle. Because if people gave it a 0, then people would go watch it to at least be like, oh my god, this movie's bad. But they're all just giving it like middle of the road
Yeah.
scores, which then people just don't go see it. Last one, and then we're done. It's almost over.
Oh my gosh.
It falters a little in its confusing climactic battle, but is breathless. Oh wait, okay. So I'm sorry. This is actually a good one.
That's
Sorry,
pretty good.
this is actually a good
That's a
one.
nice start.
Okay, so we are done. We're done with complaints. This is a shout out one
Okay.
to this chick. Sorry.
Oh my
So
gosh.
that was confusing. Anyway, it falters a little in its confusing climactic battle, but is breathlessly paced, wittily scripted, amusingly played, action-packed, and relentlessly spooky.
Right.
That is from Kim Newman at the Empire, who also still gave it a 3 out of 5. But it is at least high on the half.
Yeah.
And actually,
All right, Miss Newman, you did okay.
You did all right.
I tend to agree a little bit with it falters a little in its confusing climactic battle because the end battle is a little...
Yes.
Like, I can see how
Hectic.
someone can find that... Yeah, hectic.
Yeah.
I can see how someone would find that confusing. But the rest of her thing is all compliment. Breathlessly paced, wittily scripted.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we've been talking about this whole
Yeah.
time.
Which I feel are the most important aspects of the movie.
Yes, yeah. And relentlessly spooky. For some
Definitely
reason.
spooky. I mean, when he first comes out as the old man, he's super gross.
Oh yeah, he
Yeah.
is.
And then all through the dungeon, they get the hell of the upside down sinners. That giant saltwater tank with the people chained upside down.
Ugh, that part's gross.
They had some squishy ones in there too.
Oh,
Still, there were
no.
some just straight skeletons, but some were all squishy with like
Nasty.
little flayed bits of flesh
Ew.
tattered on it.
Yeah, I feel like it is a good Halloween movie.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
It's true.
It's the first day of fall.
oh, hey.
Happy fall.
Happy fall. So now let's do some quick fun facts.
Ooh.
So these are all relatively short compared to Tron, which all their facts were super long. The Chinese character in the main title translate to "Evil spirits make a big scene in little spiritual state."
That is amazing.
I think Big Trouble in Little China is a little catchier.
Okay.
Evil spirits make a big scene in little spiritual state.
Little spiritual state. That's so funny.
So, John Carpenter and Kurt Russell explain on the audio commentary that the test screening was so overwhelmingly positive that both of them expected it to be a big hit. However,
That's
That's so
depressing.
sad.
20th Century Fox put little into promoting the movie,
Ayo.
and it ended up bombing. In addition, the film was released in the midst of the hype for Aliens, which was released 16 days afterward.
That's rough. Because that's right when, I mean, if you were getting people to talk about it and ramping up
Hype.
just word on the street kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you didn't have that big advertising to begin with
Yeah.
to get people in, you'd need that 2 weeks to
Yeah.
ramp up, and then Alien swoops in
Yeah,
and just
takes all
crushes
the-
it. And probably, you know, there are a lot of people out there who can only do one of those type of movies every so often.
Yeah, a month.
Yeah, so.
Even though I would have totally seen,
Oh, that's too bad.
I would have loved to have seen both of these movies in the theaters.
I need to start looking for this to come out at the Temeku Theater because they show
Oh.
old movies there all the time. So I might actually try and call the guy who runs that thing and beg him to do Big Trouble in Little China.
Just keep
Beg
calling him
him.
Because
and bothering
the
him.
guy who runs it down there, I forget his name, but he always, before each show, like Princess Bride or whatever, he comes out, they do like a trivia thing.
Yeah, I remember they did it for Beetlejuice.
Yeah, so I mean, this guy's like really invested in old movie
Old,
things.
yeah.
So
They have to do it. I mean,
He's-
either they have had or at least
Yeah.
would, even if you suggested it, they'd be like, oh yeah,
I
we
feel
should
like that
do
guy would be on board. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
do that now. I'd love to see this in the theater.
I'm going to do that now.
Okay.
Now, let's see how you guys both feel about this. There is currently being developed a remake or sequel starring The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
Not
Thoughts?
into it. Well, because at first I was like, well, I'd rather them do a remake than a sequel. But then I was like, no. Just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
You
think
don't need to
Definitely
do that.
opposed to a remake.
Yeah.
yeah, I
And
think
A
it's- I wouldn't
sequel,
want
a sequel could be
sequel.
really great. I doubt
be. I
don't
Egg
know.
Shen is still alive.
yeah.
Well,
But
yeah,
Kurt
because
Russell
like
is.
it's just too late.
Yeah.
I feel like.
I think the only people they could have back would be Wang Chi and Kurt Russell.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Kim Cattrall. Yeah, I don't see a sequel really. I don't see either really working. But I think the
I
reason
doubt it would be successful.
I think the thing
What
is
did
is
Dwayne Johnson play?
You'd have to play just
a new character?
I think it would be good for him though. Like I would like to see The Rock because The Rock always plays like these like action silent heroes. But if you watch him in wrestling, the dude is hilarious.
Well, yeah, and you know Jumanji, he was funny in Jumanji.
Oh yeah.
That let him
He was
get out.
the second one.
Yeah, the second one.
Yeah. He played the lion.
So I think it would.
vocab.
I would not mind seeing The Rock in this world, but I am not at all clamoring for a remake or a sequel.
I mean, it could be good, but
It would all depend on getting John Carpenter,
his
on board
at
with
least
it.
stamp of approval.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think John Carpenter, because he was into the Halloween franchise for a little bit, but I think he tapped out after 2. And ever since then, all the friggin' weird Halloween reboots and sequels they've done, he hasn't put his stamp on any of them except the one that's coming out this year.
Yeah.
Not that I'm invested in the Halloween franchise, but at
Right.
least if they got his stamp, like John Carpenter
Yeah.
has
John Carpenter
seen this movie, approves.
Hi, my
and
name's
all.
John Carpenter. I approve this message.
oh my gosh.
I think that's actually similar to how he sounds.
Is it? Oh, that'd be weird.
Yeah. I don't really
Yeah.
want a sequel to this. Just
No.
leave it
Well,
alone.
I do want, almost comic books or.
I think there are comic books, dude.
Yeah.
I think I remember seeing.
I would really like to see the Adventures of Egg Shen.
Yeah.
Going back, because we don't know how old Egg is really supposed to be in the movie. Is he really
Yeah.
just normal, human age,
Or-
60-ish guy, or
Yeah.
is he much older than that? And the
Yeah.
whole thing with Lopan and him would be super cool to explore.
It would.
A young egg learning sorcery from Lopan
Yeah, and it's
before
not
he
like they would need
learns.
the original actors. They would
Lopan
need
Right.
younger people who sort of.
Oh,
look
so
like
yeah,
them.
a prequel might be
So
interesting.
a prequel would be cool.
That would be interesting.
Maybe Lopan coming to America.
Oh.
And
Is that why
Dwayne
Egg Shen is even
Johnson's
in
there.
America? Did Egg just follow Lopan when he made the move to the U.S.? And why on earth is Lopan in America? If
Yeah.
he's mainly fixated on Chinese
No,
women to
yeah.
marry, so coming to America really reduces
down.
your
Right.
available pool.
Your dating pool.
That did seem
But-
pretty silly to me.
But maybe, I don't know, maybe there just weren't enough green-eyed girls in China. So he's like, all right, fine, I'll take a white one. I'm just going to kill her anyway, so...
Anyway.
Doesn't really matter.
So maybe that's why he made the move. But why did he make the move?
Yeah.
There's lots of fun
Answer
things
questions.
to explore there.
Yeah, I always like when movies have
Unanswered.
deep,
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
That was the most shocking thing about John Wick. Because I was
Oh,
not expecting that at all.
Right,
I was
so-
expecting some shoot 'em up
right.
thing, revenge, and then
Something
quarter of the way into the movie, it opens up and you're like, what is what?
You're crying
So
like
whole-
the first 5 minutes of that movie.
Oh, because of the poor puppy.
Yes.
This little Busby.
Freaking sad.
It is sad.
Rude.
So final fact, I'm really happy about this one.
Ooh.
Victor Huang, who plays Egg Shen, played Walter Chang in Tremors with Kevin Bacon.
That's right. That's right.
That didn't take long.
No,
I
one
was
step.
trying to remember what else I knew him from, and Tremors is another one I haven't seen in forever.
Didn't we just watch that?
Relatively.
Were
You
you
guys
there
don't-
though?
no, I wasn't.
No, it was at our house.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I love that
You must
movie.
have not been
I
there.
love Tremors.
I think
That
it was
movie's
on
so
TV.
funny.
I did.
I saw that's another one I saw when I was a kid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Like
movie's
13
great.
That
or
movie's
something.
suspenseful.
Yeah, it's really well done.
It's an interesting horror movie. But I've wanted to, ever since we started doing this Kevin Bacon thing,
Yeah.
I've wanted to connect the movie to Tremors. So I'm excited that we get to do that.
Yeah, that was a good one. Graboids.
Yeah, I love that movie. I think it's well liked, so I don't know if I'll ever cover it, but the movie's great.
I'm sure at this point it's cult classic status.
Yeah,
At the very least.
I know that they still keep making sequels. There was one that just came out with them in the snow now.
What?
Yeah. They've done
This-
graboids with legs,
Or any of the original
flying
people in it?
graboids. The dude, Reba McEntire's husband, is the only one who keeps coming
Oh,
back.
that
He
hick guy.
just
Yeah.
somehow
He was really funny though.
ends up
crazy old
Yeah.
gun-toting cycle.
Every place where there's these.
Yeah, the
They just
graboids.
follow him around.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they did 2 was graboids with legs, 3 I think was flying graboids, 4 was in the past. So he's still in it, but he plays his ancestor.
Oh my god.
And then I think 5 was no.
That's
5
the
or
only
6.
other
I
thing
don't
to
know.
do is space.
Oh
That
my
would be
god.
hilarious.
Graboids
On
in
Mars.
space.
That's where they eventually go. So now I think we've all come to appreciate Big Trouble in Little China
Yes.
Yeah.
just a little bit more.
Yes.
Now it's time for Maya's mention.
This is where we just pick a movie that isn't really an action movie, or I actually don't know if this movie's well liked. It's a very unknown.
Niche.
Yeah. It's called Bride and Prejudice. It's a spin-off of Pride and Prejudice.
It's more of a remake than a
Yes.
spin-off.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it's an Indian remake of
Yes.
Pride and Prejudice.
Bollywood, if you will.
So it has like the same idea behind it.
Yeah, the same story.
It just
essentially.
takes place in India and partly in America, and
In
it's
London.
In London, and it's modern.
Yes, it is modern day.
Yes,
At the time.
modern day. I love this movie because it's also a musical.
Yeah, that's the other way it differentiates from the
Yes.
source material.
So good.
Yeah, I remember when Mom got this from the library.
Me too. We loved it.
I wasn't a fan.
Well, duh.
This
You
was
even
before-
Like Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah, well, this
Why
is
would you like
before
this one?
I grew and appreciate. Even though I'm not a huge fan of Pride and Prejudice, I appreciate. Once I was mature enough to understand what is actually happening, and it's not just old British people talking to each other, I appreciate it more now. Just because it's a weird romantic thing, but I appreciate that the guy is right. Like he
Mr.
doesn't Mr. Darcy.
I knew a name,
I knew it.
Good job.
which
He-
is impressive. 'Cause
Oh.
that's all contact knowledge. That's like osmosis knowledge from
Yeah.
so many other people.
Not actually watching
Yeah.
it.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
He doesn't share as much as he should, and if they just sit down and freaking talk, the problems would be solved. But he ends up being right, and it's like the girl making all these weird assumptions that cause part of
Well,
the problems.
I mean, Darcy's also wrong about some things.
Yes.
Because, he convinces... Oh, God, I don't remember his Indian name.
Raj?
Yeah. he convinces his friend not to marry
Oh yeah, that's true.
the main character's older sister.
No one's
Yeah.
blameless.
Because,
Well, the
because
movie-
like he thought that her mom was just being
A gold
a
digger.
gold digger, and
Yeah.
that she was kind of just pressuring the girl to like him,
Yeah.
which he's wrong about in both movies.
Yes. There is
So-
a lot of pride and prejudice
Yes.
on both sides.
Exactly. So that's why I've always liked the movies, is because they're both stupid,
Yeah.
and they both. Well, because I mean, in the original one, well, never mind, we won't get into that, but.
I know that you don't appreciate the music, Aaron, but I really like
Yes.
Indian music.
Yes.
The weird, like, chanting, yodeling stuff they do. It fascinates me how they can do
Yeah,
that
I love
stuff.
watching this movie because the Indian culture. It's so
Yeah,
fun.
it is. It
So
is a
colorful.
very,
I don't know if it's like actually.
it's way happier than I think. I mean, Aaron would know. He went to India. But I
Is
feel
that
like it's a lot
colorful?
happier than Indian culture actually is.
So I haven't seen the movie necessarily.
I mean, you got a taste of it yesterday, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Do people really just start dancing on the streets when
Yeah, and, like,
somebody's gonna get
singing
married,
along
and they like
and-
color coordinate themselves too? Do they
Right.
do that?
So there's a lot to unpack there. I did go to 2 weddings when I was in India.
Oh, snap.
They do the parade down the street with the family.
Whoa.
My friend's cousin rode in on a white horse.
Oh, so
And
not an elephant.
there were people with horses around who also did fancy horse tricks.
Oh wow.
What
And
the
then
heck?
they go down and they pick up the bride, and then they go to the place that the wedding's going to be at. Oh yeah, so there's a lot of different ways you can do
it's
it.
like kind of accurate.
So there was not a lot of dancing at that time in the parade, though, nor was there much singing, although there was music, drums and such. At the wedding, there was a lot of dancing. But
Where the boys would dance to get the girls to come down the stairs.
No, the guys danced in one area and the girls danced in another area. There was
interesting.
no
Crossover.
cross dancing. No, except for the
Whoa.
bride and groom got to dance together a little bit.
Weird.
Everyone else is all the guys dancing in one area and all the girls dancing in another area.
Interesting.
Wow.
Wow.
That's so,
So
cool.
anyway, and everyone was very happy at the wedding.
Hmm.
I found most of the families and people we visited were a lot more reserved than I think you would see in a Bollywood movie.
Probably.
There's they're very friendly and real, would very welcoming to, bringing you into their home and everything like that. But they're certainly not. Most of them are not very effusive and outgoing like you see.
Do they do that head bob thing?
Yeah.
Oh.
They do. They're not big huggers. I'm a big hugger, and it took me a while to notice after hugging all of his
Oh my gosh.
Irvish's friends and family, and we were leaving. Actually, when his brother got engaged, they had an engagement party, and so I'm saying bye, and I'm hugging everybody, and we're walking away, and no one else is hugging. And I realized kind of for the first time there, I was like,
oh my gosh.
hey, you guys don't really hug a lot, huh? He's like, no, not really. They only hug you. I was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
That's funny.
I don't know,
Well,
that's
yeah,
fine.
it's a good movie. You should go watch it.
It's entertaining.
It's funny.
It has a surprise black choir pop out of nowhere.
That's
I feel like it's so
Yeah.
over the top
It is
in
pretty
some
over the top.
areas. So I don't know. It's just like a fun movie to watch.
Yeah, it's definitely entertaining. The songs are well done. I don't think it's as good as the music necessarily. Just because I personally like that kind of music, but which also harkens back to Avatar, like the Sungi horn that
yeah.
that really cool sound that I try to replicate occasionally. It's cool. It is interesting watching that because I always assumed that India is kind of a part of the Middle East, and it really isn't, because
No,
it's
definitely
like the women are allowed to show themselves for the most part, and it is. Was it really colorful? As colorful as it is?
Yeah, a
in the
lot of
movies?
cities. I didn't watch the movie, but there's a pink city where almost all the structures are
Whoa.
painted kind of a pale pink color. There's a
That's
blue
so
city where
crazy.
it's about this shade of blue you see all over all the buildings, a little bit darker. So it kind of
Wow.
just a couple shades up from baby blue in one city. I
But,
forget which
like,
was
the-
which now, but
The wardrobe, were people wearing a lot of color? Or is it
oh
more
yeah,
muted?
the women especially.
Yeah.
Guys,
Not so
younger guys are dressing a little more colorfully now, but but women have always had extremely elaborate. The saris are always very colorful and
Right.
elaborate.
Yeah.
So that's pretty common. And then they've got, depending on what festival, they've got Diwali and
Yeah,
all sorts of other ones, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
so things get colorful then. So.
Yeah. It's a very colorful movie, and Indian
Yes.
culture is very interesting. I don't know if I want to go there. 'Cause I don't know if I would appreciate the food that much.
I guess you'd have to go to a few restaurants and
Indian places.
you'll get an idea of what they.
Yeah, I like spicy food, but I've heard Indian spice is a whole other
Level.
ball game. But-
I did sweat a lot. But it was good. I like it. I like the food a lot. they'd always ask Irvish if I was okay, because I'd be like, I'm really pale, so I get flushed red, and whenever I eat anything that's even a little bit spicy, I get the sweat like under my eyes. And so, I mean, I ate a lot of food when I was there, but at the beginning of the meal, when we'd go to some new person's house, you could see him lean over to Irvish and ask if I was okay, and so I'd always have to assure them that I was fine.
That's funny. Yeah, food is my main motivation for traveling. So if they don't have...
Well, there are easier ways to get food than to travel, if that's the case.
Go watch Bride and Prejudice.
Bride.
Good luck finding it. I think Miranda...
It's on Amazon.
Yeah, I'm sure Miranda ordered it somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I'm betting that one's not
It was
as
on
hard.
Netflix for a long time.
Oh,
and we
yeah.
were like, no way!
Well, they got a
then-
lot of Indian
And then
programming.
they took it off. And then so Miranda bought it on Amazon.
Good job.
But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely won't be able to find it at Target.
yeah, that's not happening. If you guys want to email us, our email is yourpositivereview@gmail.com. That's
yourpositivereview@gmail.com.
Good one.
good one. That was a good delivery.
I threw some
Pauses.
some spin on it there.
Huh.
Put a little English on it.
But yeah, if you guys want to share your favorite part of Big Trouble in Little China or your favorite song from Bride and Prejudice, I would like to interact. And you can also follow us on Instagram at...
Your positive review. I just bit my tongue.
Oh. For updates. I think I might start posting any movie posts I have, because I usually post a lot of movie stuff on my main account.
Yeah.
Which you can follow if you want at Right Turn Means Left. But I think I'm going to start putting that on the other one. And you can follow Kamea on Instagram.
At Kamea Noel.
Good luck spelling.
And you can follow me if you can find me.
Do you have an Instagram?
Nope.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, I mean physically. If they
Oh,
can
okay, if
locate
you want
me
to...
on planet
locate
Earth,
me.
then they can follow
You
me.
can follow me.
But I'll be watching.
Oh, spooky.
His address is...
Oh, boy.
I don't even know it.
I couldn't even tell you if I wanted. Oh, and if you could subscribe, that'd be great. I want to make a custom URL so bad, and we need 300 subscribers to do that.
So tell your friends.
Tell your friends, tell your buddies, tell your
Tell your
coworkers,
parents. Tell your grandparents.
tell your neighbors,
Tell your cousins.
tell your kids,
Tell your wives.
tell your other wives.
Your sister wives.
Oh,
Your
God.
sister wives.
Blah, blah, blah.
Your brother husbands.
Okay, whoa.
Polyamorous.
So next week, we're going to be covering R.I.P.D., starring Ryan Reynolds and Jeff Bridges.
Oh, it's the ghost detective thing one.
Yeah, it stands for Rest in Peace Department.
Oh, right. Not rest in peace, Dad.
No,
Although, crossover.
they could. But yeah,
Yeah, I think I remember seeing that advertised at one point.
yeah, it
I have no
has...
idea what he's talking about. He explained it to me. I've never heard
It
of it
has-
before.
It's just a movie.
Yeah, it has terrible reviews.
Yeah.
But I like it a lot, and I don't really... I mean, Oh my God, James Huang is also in that.
No way.
Yeah,
Oh.
I just remembered.
Look at that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the special effects in it are super good. Not that that makes a movie good, but I also think that it's funny. It's not a deep movie at all. It's kind of like this. It's just something fun to watch. So maybe in the future, I will be the one touting R.I.P.D. this whole time, and then in
That's right.
20 years, some kid will be like, "Oh my God, that movie's a cult classic." So,
Oh my gosh.
oh my God.
That'd be
Anyway.
funny.
One can only hope.
Yes. So that's what we'll be covering next week. And then just remember, well liked or panned, every story has a positive, and you're not alone in finding it.
That's true. Huzzah.